Have you ever felt like you're running on empty? Like every step feels like a monumental task, and the things that used to bring you joy now feel like distant memories? I know I have. It was like being lost in a dense fog, unsure of how to find my way back to solid ground. The exhaustion wasn't just physical, it was a deep-seated feeling of hopelessness and disconnection from life. You're not alone. This feeling is more common than you think, and it's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that something needs to change. But what is burnout really? Is it just extreme tiredness, or is it something more complex? Can we ever truly recover from it, or is it a permanent scar? As someone who's been there, I want you to know that there's hope. In this video, we'll explore the insights from modern psychology that explain what burnout is and how it affects us. We'll dive into mindfulness tools that can help you navigate through the darkness and find your way back to a place of peace and clarity. You'll gain a new perspective on the nature of exhaustion, one that doesn't just treat the symptoms, but addresses the root causes. Burnout is often misunderstood as just being tired or stressed, but it's so much more than that. It's a state of emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion caused by prolonged stress, overwork, and lack of balance in life. But here's the thing, you're not broken, you're deeply human. And with the right tools and mindset, you can recover and find a more balanced, fulfilling life. So let's embark on this journey together. Let's explore the silent epidemic of burnout, understand its roots, and discover how to break free from its cycle. By the end of this video, you'll have a clearer understanding of burnout and practical steps to take control of your well-being. You're not alone, and there's hope for a brighter, more compassionate future. Burnout. We've all been there, or at least, we've all felt like we're running on empty. But what is burnout really? Is it just stress on steroids, or is it something more complex? To understand burnout, let's start with a definition. Burnout is a state of emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion caused by prolonged stress, overwork, and lack of balance in life. It's not just feeling stressed, although stress can be a major contributor. While stress is like being stuck in a traffic jam, burnout is like the engine of your car overheating from running too long without a break. The concept of burnout was first introduced by psychologist Herbert Freudenberger in the 1970s. He described it as a state of emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and reduced performance. First, there's emotional exhaustion. This is the feeling of being drained, depleted, and exhausted. Imagine your emotional tank is empty and no amount of sleep or coffee can fill it. Second, there's depersonalization. This is when we start to feel disconnected from ourselves and others. We might become cynical, detached, or even numb. It's like we're watching ourselves and others through a foggy lens. Third, there's reduced performance. This is when our productivity and performance start to suffer. We might struggle to complete tasks, make decisions, or even show up to work. From a psychological perspective, burnout affects our brain's chemistry. When we're under chronic stress, our hypothalamic pituitary adrenal, HPA, axis goes into overdrive. This can lead to an imbalance of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Imagine your HPA axis as a thermostat, constantly turned up to high without a break. Now, let's talk about emotional bankruptcy. This concept refers to when we've depleted our emotional resources, leaving us feeling empty, drained, and disconnected. It's like our emotional bank account has been overdrawn, and we need to make a deposit to replenish it. So, what are the symptoms of burnout? Emotionally, we might feel hopeless, detached, or irritable. Physically, we might experience chronic fatigue, headaches, or insomnia. We might even develop digestive issues or a weakened immune system. The good news is that burnout is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that we need to make some changes. By understanding what burnout is and how it affects us, we can start to take steps towards recovery. And that's exactly what we'll explore in the next sections. Have you ever felt like you're running on a never-ending treadmill, constantly striving to keep up, but somehow always falling behind? You're not alone. Burnout isn't just about being tired, It's about being stuck in a cycle of exhaustion that seeps into every part of our lives. But what drives this cycle? What hidden triggers are pulling the strings behind the scenes? Let's talk about perfectionism and people-pleasing tendencies. We've all been there, trying to be the perfect partner, parent, friend, or employee. We overcommit, overwork, and overthink, all in an attempt to avoid disappointment or rejection. But in doing so, we often neglect our own needs and desires. We become like a vessel with a hole in it, constantly leaking energy but never refilling. Research in psychology tells us that perfectionists are more prone to burnout. When we tie our self-worth to achieving flawlessness, we set ourselves up for a lifetime of stress and anxiety. And then there's people-pleasing, the need to constantly seek validation from others. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. No matter how much we pour in, we'll always feel empty. Trauma and anxious attachment styles also play a significant role in burnout. When we've experienced trauma, our bodies go into survival mode, constantly on the lookout for threats. This can lead to chronic stress and anxiety, making it difficult to relax or feel safe. Anxious attachment styles can also drive us to overwork and overachieve as we seek to prove our worth to others. Now, let's look at some modern-day contributors to burnout. We're living in an era of information overload. Our brains are constantly bombarded with notifications, emails, and social media updates. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose. We can't possibly process it all. And then there's social comparison, especially on social media. We compare our behind-the-scenes moments to everyone else's highlight reels, feeling inadequate and insecure. Societal expectations and cultural norms also contribute to burnout. We're often encouraged to push ourselves to the limit, to hustle and grind, to achieve more and more. But what about our well-being? What about our happiness? Here's a powerful metaphor to consider: emotional debt. Just like financial debt, emotional debt accumulates when we ignore our emotional needs, when we suppress our feelings or overcommit ourselves. And just like financial debt, emotional debt requires payment, often in the form of self-care, boundaries, and mindfulness. The truth is, burnout is not just about being tired. It's about being out of alignment with our values, needs, and desires. It's about ignoring the whispers of our bodies and minds, telling us to slow down, to rest, to recharge. By understanding these hidden triggers, we can begin to break free from the cycle of burnout. We can start to prioritize our well-being, to cultivate self-compassion, and to live a life that's authentic and meaningful. Burnout isn't just about feeling tired. It's a complex web of physical, emotional, and mental consequences that seep into every area of our lives. Let's talk about what happens when burnout takes hold. First, there's the cognitive toll. Imagine your brain is a computer that's constantly running multiple tabs, but it's slowly losing its ability to process information efficiently. That's what happens during burnout. Cognitive impairment becomes a daily struggle. Simple tasks feel like climbing a mountain, and decreased productivity becomes the new norm. You might find yourself making more mistakes, struggling to focus, and feeling like you're constantly playing catch-up. But that's not all. Burnout also paves the way for a host of emotional challenges. Anxiety and depression can creep in, making it hard to shake off feelings of hopelessness. Sleep disturbances become common, leading to a vicious cycle where you're exhausted but can't sleep, and you're stressed because you can't sleep. It's like being stuck in a never-ending loop. And then there are the relationships. When we're burned out, we often withdraw from the people closest to us. We might lash out at loved ones or feel too drained to engage. It's like we're emotionally bankrupt, with nothing left to give. Creativity and passion also suffer. Activities that once brought joy now feel like chores. You might look at your hobbies or creative pursuits and feel, I just can't muster the energy for this anymore. Let me share an example. Imagine someone who used to love painting but now barely picks up a brush. They might say, I just don't have the energy or inspiration like I used to. It's as if burnout has sucked the color out of their life, leaving them feeling gray and uninspired. But here's the thing, awareness is the first step to change. Recognizing the cost of burnout gives us the power to take action. It's like turning on the light in a dark room. Suddenly, you can see the way forward. You realize that burnout isn't a personal failing, but a signal that something needs to shift. By acknowledging these effects, we can start to make changes. We can start to prioritize self-care, set boundaries, and seek support. It's not about being perfect, it's about being human. And when we understand the cost of burnout, we can begin to take back control of our lives, one small step at a time. Have you ever found yourself stuck in a cycle of exhaustion, thinking, if I just push through this, I'll be okay? You're not alone. We've all been there, trying to power through, fueled by coffee and determination, only to find ourselves crashing harder than ever. But here's the paradox. Fighting exhaustion often fuels more exhaustion. Think about it. When you're running on empty and you try to push through, you're essentially saying, I'm not tired, I'm fine. But your body and mind are screaming, no, you're not fine, you're exhausted. And when you ignore that, you're not just ignoring your physical and emotional needs. You're also beating yourself up for not being able to keep up. This is where self-compassion comes in, treating yourself with kindness, understanding, and patience. It's about recognizing that you're not your exhaustion, you're the observer of it. You're the one watching yourself feel drained, depleted, and exhausted. And from that place of observation, you can start to make different choices. Mindfulness is often misunderstood as a way to control our thoughts and emotions, but it's actually a shift in perspective. It's about being present with what is, rather than trying to change it. When you're mindful, you're not trying to push through exhaustion, you're simply observing it. You're saying, I'm feeling tired right now. That's okay, I can rest. This subtle shift in perspective can be incredibly powerful. It allows you to approach exhaustion with a sense of curiosity, rather than judgment. What's going on here? What does my body need? What does my mind need? By asking these questions, you start to develop a more compassionate relationship with yourself. The key insight here is that you are not your exhaustion. You are the one observing it, and from that place of observation, you can start to make different choices. You can choose to rest, to recharge, and to prioritize your own needs. And that's where true healing begins. So I want to leave you with a challenge today. The next time you're feeling exhausted, try approaching it with kindness. Try saying, I'm tired, that's okay, I can rest. See how that shifts your perspective and see how that changes your experience. You might be surprised at just how powerful it can be. Burnout can feel like being stuck in a never-ending cycle of exhaustion, with no clear escape route in sight. But what if I told you that there are practical tools that can help you break free from this cycle? In this section, we'll explore some simple yet powerful techniques to help you regain control over your well-being. Let's start with grounding techniques. When we're feeling burned out, it's easy to get caught up in our thoughts and lose touch with the present moment. 2 techniques can help you ground yourself and find calm: the 5-4-3-2-1 method and the Name Your Thought technique. The 5-4-3-2-1 method is a simple exercise that helps you focus on your surroundings. 5. Take a deep breath and notice 5 things you can see around you. 4. Acknowledge 4 things you can touch or feel, like your feet on the ground or the air on your skin. 3. Identify 3 things you can hear. 2. Recognize 2 things you can smell. 1. Finally, notice 1 thing you can taste. This exercise helps shift your focus from your thoughts to your surroundings, giving you a sense of control and calm. The Name Your Thought technique is another powerful tool. When you notice your mind racing, take a moment to acknowledge your thoughts. Say to yourself, I'm having the thought that I'm not good enough, or I'm feeling anxious about this task. By naming your thoughts, you create space between yourself and your emotions, allowing you to respond more mindfully. Another essential practice for breaking the burnout cycle is journaling. Writing down your thoughts and feelings can be a powerful way to release tension and gain clarity. Try setting aside a few minutes each day to write without judgment or editing. This simple act can help you process your emotions and gain perspective. In addition to these techniques, self-care activities are crucial for burnout recovery. Regular exercise, for example, can help reduce stress and boost mood. Meditation and mindfulness practices can also calm your mind and increase feelings of compassion. And spending time in nature can help you feel more grounded and connected. But here's the thing. Self-care isn't just about adding new activities to your to-do list. It's also about setting boundaries and prioritizing your own needs. Learning to say no can be incredibly liberating. When we overcommit and overextend ourselves, we set ourselves up for burnout. By setting healthy boundaries, you create space for what truly matters. Self-compassion and self-forgiveness are also essential components of burnout recovery. It's easy to beat ourselves up when we're not meeting our own expectations, but this only perpetuates the cycle of exhaustion. Instead, try treating yourself with kindness and understanding, just as you would a close friend. Remind yourself that you're doing the best you can, and that's enough. Let me share a story with you. Sarah, a marketing professional, was working 12-hour days, 6 days a week. She felt drained, both physically and mentally. One day, she realized she needed to make a change. She started small, taking a 10-minute walk each day during her lunch break. She began practicing the 5-4-3-2-1 method when she felt overwhelmed. And she started saying no to non-essential tasks at work. Over time, Sarah noticed a significant shift. She had more energy, her creativity increased, and she felt more connected to herself and others. The key takeaway here is that recovery from burnout is not about making drastic changes overnight. It's about taking small, consistent steps towards well-being. By incorporating these practical tools into your daily life, you can break the burnout cycle and cultivate a more compassionate, resilient you. Burnout, the word itself feels like a weight, doesn't it? A signal that we've hit rock bottom, that something inside us has finally given out. But what if I told you that burnout might not be the end of the road, but rather a critical turning point? What if, instead of seeing it as a complete breakdown, we could view it as a wake-up call, a chance to reevaluate, recharge, and rediscover ourselves? Think of burnout like a check engine light in your car. It's not the problem itself, it's a signal that something needs attention. For most of us, that signal comes in the form of exhaustion, cynicism, and a reduced sense of accomplishment. But what if, instead of trying to silence that signal with caffeine, distractions, or denial, we listened to it? What if we saw burnout as an invitation to explore what's really going on beneath the surface? The truth is, burnout often reveals a profound gift: self-awareness. When we're burned out, we're forced to confront the parts of ourselves we've been trying to ignore, the parts that are tired, the parts that are hurting, the parts that are feeling lost. And in that confrontation, we find an opportunity for growth. Consider this: when was the last time you took a genuine pause to assess your life? When did you last ask yourself, what do I really want? What do I really need? Burnout can be a brutal teacher, but it's a teacher nonetheless. It pushes us to question our priorities, our relationships, and our sense of purpose. The key is to channel this newfound self-awareness constructively. It's about balancing self-care with self-compassion. Self-care is the act of taking care of our physical, emotional, and mental needs, exercising, meditating, spending time in nature. Self-compassion, on the other hand, is about treating ourselves with kindness, especially when we're struggling. Here's a radical idea: you're not broken, you're deeply human. And being human means being vulnerable, imperfect, and sometimes utterly exhausted. When we practice self-compassion, we begin to see burnout not as a failure, but as a natural part of being alive. Imagine if, instead of beating yourself up over burnout, you offered yourself a gentle hug. "It's okay," you'd say. "I'm tired, I'm struggling, and that's okay." This shift in perspective doesn't erase the exhaustion, but it changes how we relate to it. We move from self-criticism to self-understanding. So, how do we start rethinking burnout? We begin by acknowledging it as a signal that we need to slow down, listen to our bodies, and honor our emotions. We start by being kinder to ourselves, by recognizing that burnout is not a reflection of our worth, but a reflection of our humanity. And then we take small steps. We prioritize rest not as a luxury, but as a necessity. We set boundaries not out of fear, but out of love for ourselves and others. We practice mindfulness, not to achieve some sort of Zen state, but to stay present in our own lives. The journey out of burnout isn't about erasing the exhaustion. It's about learning to live with it in a way that honors our true selves. It's about recognizing that we're not just survivors of burnout, but students of our own resilience. So the next time you feel that familiar weight of burnout, I want you to take a deep breath and say it with me. I'm not broken. I'm deeply human, and that's enough. Find a quiet and comfortable place to sit or lie down where you won't be disturbed. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Allow your body to relax, letting go of any tension you may be holding. Imagine yourself standing on a serene beach at sunset. The sky is painted with hues of orange, pink, and purple, a breathtaking sight that fills your heart with peace. With each breath, feel the gentle ocean breeze caressing your skin, carrying with it the soothing sounds of waves gently lapping against the shore. Notice the sensation of your feet connecting with the sand. Feel its softness, its coolness, and the way it supports you. With each breath, allow yourself to sink a little deeper into the sand, feeling more grounded, more stable. As you walk along the beach, notice the sensation of the sand shifting beneath your feet. With each step, feel the grains of sand slipping away, only to be washed back onto the shore by the incoming waves. This is a reminder that everything in life is transient, including our struggles. Now, visualize a wave rolling in. As it approaches, feel its energy, its power, and its soothing sound. Allow the wave to wash over you, carrying with it any stress, any anxiety, any feeling of burnout. As the wave recedes, imagine it taking with it all your worries, leaving you feeling lighter, freer. Take a moment to notice the sensation of your breath moving in and out of your body. Feel the rise and fall of your chest, the sensation of the air moving through your nostrils. Allow your breath to become your anchor, your connection to the present moment. As you continue to breathe deeply, repeat a gentle phrase to yourself. Burnout is just a pattern, and patterns can change. Allow these words to sink deeply into your mind, filling you with hope and determination. Remember, you are not your burnout. You are a resilient, capable, and strong individual who can navigate even the most challenging times. Take one final, deep breath in, and when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Return to your day with a renewed sense of peace and a gentle reminder that change is always possible. As we wrap up this journey through understanding and navigating burnout, I want to take a moment to reflect on the key insights we've explored together. We've dived into the nature of burnout, its hidden triggers, and the immense cost it takes on our well-being. We've also discovered practical tools to break the burnout cycle and learn to rethink our approach to exhaustion. At the heart of our exploration has been a crucial understanding. Awareness, acceptance, and tools for change are the foundation of our path forward. Recognizing the signs of burnout, accepting our vulnerability, and equipping ourselves with mindfulness and self-care practices are not just strategies, they're acts of self-compassion. But here's the thing, healing from burnout, or even just navigating it, takes time. And it's so important to be kind to ourselves along the way. Remember, you're not broken, you're deeply human. Your body and mind are responding to the world in the best way they know how. And that means it's okay to not be okay. The goal isn't to never feel exhausted again. That's an unrealistic expectation in our beautifully complex, often challenging lives. The real goal is to feel exhaustion with presence. It's about being with your feelings rather than against them. 1. Awareness is power. Understanding burnout gives you the tools to address it. 2. Acceptance is freedom. Embracing your current state, without judgment, opens the door to change. 3. Self-compassion is your superpower. Treating yourself with kindness accelerates healing. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What helps you when you feel burned out? What practices, routines, or mindset shifts have made a difference in your journey? Share your stories in the comments below. Your experiences can be a beacon of hope and guidance for others navigating their own paths. In closing, remember that burnout is a signal, a call to pause, reflect, and recalibrate. It's not a sign of weakness, but a reminder of our shared humanity. You've taken the first step by being here, by seeking understanding and solutions. Keep moving forward, one step at a time, with kindness, compassion, and a deep trust in your own resilience. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, help us reach more awesome people like you by hitting the like button and subscribing. It really makes a difference. Thanks, and see you in the next one.